Government program to rescue future generations from intoxicants a success. A statement from the President.
ලංකාවේ පළවෙනි වතාවට තමයි මීට සති 3කට කලින් කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයට භාණ්ඩාගාරය වාර්තා කළේ රජයට එන බදු ආදායම අරක්කු සහ සිගරට් වලින් පළවෙනි වතාවට ලංකාවේ පහත් වැටලා තියෙනවා.
SLFP appoints organisers for Kurunagala. Johnston and Tikiri Adhikari lose their positions. Bridge construction in Ampara marred with impropriety due to political interference. Newsfirst correspondent threatened at the site. Farmers in turmoil ahead of the Sinhala Tamil New Year.
අගමැතිට පුළුවන් නම් කෝටි 60ක් වෙන් කරගන්න කාර් දෙකක් ගන්න. එතකොට අද මොකක්ද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ ගොවියා වදින ෆුඩ් සයිකලේ උකස් තියලා.
Missing businessman from Kakirawa. Did he go into hiding or was he actually abducted?
All that and more coming up on tonight's bulletin. Hello, good evening and welcome. This is Primetime News on TV1 and Shakti TV. I'm Nadim Majid.
I'm Azra Hassan. Let's take a look at the stories in detail. On to our top story now. A new building for the Tildenia-based hospital was declared open by President Maithripala Sirisena today.
The building comprises of operating theatres, wards, an intensive care unit and a JMO unit. Incidentally, the foundation stone for the construction was placed back in 2013 by the President when he was serving as the Minister of Health.
Several weeks ago, for the first time in Sri Lanka, it was reported to the cabinet that revenue generated from arak and cigarettes had dropped. This is a good sign. What happened previously was that the revenue generated from arak and cigarettes had increased. As a result of the government program, the taxes collected by the state from those means have dropped. That means the revenue from arak and cigarettes have also dropped. This is important for the creation of a healthy society. You are aware that education and health are of paramount importance for the country's development. If we have a wise and healthy society, the country will move forward at an accelerated pace. Whenever I faced issues in the cabinet, my president spoke on my side and he was my greatest strength. He supported me and took the final decision. When you consider this, it is evident that the president must have powers. As a policy, I am against abolishing the president's powers. Back in 78, I was in Hyde Park with NM and JR. I was seated as a doctor with no political rights when the constitution was presented. I feel there might be changes in this one.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, who is currently visiting Japan, met with the President of the Sri Lanka-Japan Parliament Friendship Association today.
President of the Sri Lanka-Japan Parliament Friendship Association, Wataru Takeshita, assured the Prime Minister that Japan would commit to support the development drive of Sri Lanka. He pointed out that Japan and Sri Lanka will look to further boost the bilateral relationship. Meanwhile, Premier Wickremesinghe stated that as the Sri Lankan Parliament celebrates 70 years, these talks are of paramount importance.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister and the Sri Lankan delegation attended a business forum conducted by the Japan External Trade Organization. The Premier spoke on Sri Lanka's position in the global economy and the importance of Japan in Sri Lanka's development journey.
The foundation of prosperity requires not merely the intervention by the Japanese government in development assistance. It also requires the Japanese private sector, because you are investing in an emerging market and a market that is going to be larger than any other market. If you are talking of two regions as an area of prosperity, of economic development, then the intervention is needed to raise the level of Indian Ocean countries. But that's where the markets are going to take place. The new developments are going to take place. So those are the issues that have to be addressed by Japan. I use the word Japan. It's not only the government. It has to be the government and the private sector and the people-to-people connectivity.
Our economy in Sri Lanka has witnessed a steady revival in growth during the past few months, with the country venturing into new avenues of product and service monetization. Sri Lanka is on the cusp of a transformative leap forward. However, there's much work to be done, and we require the goodwill and assistance of our friends like Japan.
At a media briefing convened today, the Government Medical Officers Association responded to a recent statement from the Health Minister Rajitha Senaratne. Not to be outdone, the Health Minister returned fire almost immediately afterwards.
We were under the impression that it would be Rajitha Senaratne and his son who was struck by tear gas at the age of 4. That would topple the government. At present, the minister is claiming that the GMOA is trying to topple the government. As in the past and in the present too, the GMO has not been a force to topple governments. It is a trade union committed to uplifting the standard of healthcare in the country and ensuring the equality and welfare of medical professionals. It has been stated in court rulings that it is being proven to the country now that not anyone can govern the university system, the standard of medical education and the health system.
ඕනම ගොනෙකුට මේ රටේ වෛද්‍ය අධ්‍යාපනයේ ප්‍රමිතිය හදන්න බෑ. ඕනම ගොනෙකුට මේ රටේ සෞඛ්‍ය පද්ධතිය හරයාත්මක වෙනස්කම් සිද්ධ කරන්න බෑ කියන එක අද මේ රට හමුවේ ඔප්පු වෙගෙන යනවා. කවුරු හරි මෙතන එකෙක්වත් හීනෙන් දැකලා තියෙනවද?
Has anyone ever dreamed that Dr. Pardiniya would come into power? Have we heard of such a person coming into power? Now they are using various issues like CITEM for this purpose. I am bound by the court ruling. If the court orders me to stand at attention for half an hour, then I will do it. I can't undergo what SBR underwent. They are using the CITEM struggle for political motives. There are nets that have been cast by the JAP and even the Frontline Socialist Party. They will hang on to any net. We will remain on the side of the people and make the correct decision.
They
are asking if it can be toppled this year. If it can be done, we will do it this year. We will not wait. We will take every effort. If we cannot do it this year, we will do it next year. It will only take 2 poyas. The election will happen before Vesak Poya. Certainly, there are only 2 poyas left. 2 Vesak Poyas.
At a time when they are using a conceptually flawed organization and have cast a die to topple the government in 3 months, I believe that as a government that was fairly and democratically elected by 6.2 million people, the government must think differently. What Pardiniya has embarked on is not a fight that is in line with the pulse of the people. It is being done to restore the former regime so they can enjoy the same luxuries and benefits. This government can buy Pardiniya in 5 minutes if they give them the same benefits. I will cast a die with this statement. There is no reason for anything else if they give them the same benefits they received under the Mahinda Rajapaksa regime. But do not give in. The benefits are not important. We must bring them to the path of justice.
Free education or freedom of education, a question that continues to nag policymakers in this country. In other news tonight, MP Wimal Weerawansa called on the Anunayaka of the Malwatta chapter of the Siam sect, Venerable Niyangoda Vijitha Sirithera. Following the meeting, Weerawansa had this to say to the media.
If anyone can chase this government away within 1 poya, let alone 2, then we will naturally extend our support to them.
All this time we thought that Wimal Weerawansa is a great hero. As soon as he was imprisoned, no, not imprisoned, as soon as he was remanded, he started crying like a baby and even put his children in hospital. What kind of infantile behavior is this? Leave aside toppling the government. We cannot even say when he will cross over to the UMP. Can a man who couldn't stay in custody for 6 days topple a government?
The SLFP has appointed several new electorate and district organizers for the Kurunegala district.
The President appointed Minister Dayasiri Jayasekara as the organizer for the Panduwasnura electorate and Dharmasiri Dasanayaka as the organizer for the Bingiriya electorate. Jayaratna Herath has been appointed organizer for the Polgahawala electorate, while Lakshman Vedaruwa has been appointed organizer of the Kurunegala electorate. Indika Bandaranayaka has been appointed organizer for Nikavaratiya. Gunadasa Dehigama, Anuradha Sampath Hebage and MSM Fahim are the new district organizers for Kurunegala.
Johnston Pranandu Mahatma ඉවත් කළා ඒ වෙනුවට
We have removed Johnston Fernando and replaced him with Indika Bandaranayaka as the organizer for Nikavaratia. We want organizers who will strengthen the SLFP. In the coming days, we will remove weak organizers who are not working for the party from across Sri Lanka and will appoint new organizers in place of them. We are electing clean people as organizers, people who have not been caught for fraud or corruption. They do not work for the SLFP in the electorate, saying that they represent the joint opposition. This is a major injustice for the youth in these electorates. So we gave them a fair time frame. If it was Mahinda Rajapaksa, he would not have given them any time. He would have waited a maximum of 3 months. But President Maithripala Sirisena has been waiting for 2 years and is now appointing organizers for the party supporters to promote the party and to secure the future of the party.
Following the move, Johnston Fernando and Tikiri Adhikari are no longer co-organizers for the Polgahawela electorate. As a result of Indika Bandaranayaka being appointed to Nikavaratia, the position of organizer for Panduwasnuwara, which was previously held by him, has been given to Minister Dasari Jayasekara. Jayasekara previously served as organizer for Bingiria.
It is bittersweet. I have been given the Panduwasnuwara electorate instead of Bingiria. From the Panduwasnuwara electorate, we are hoping to embark on a program that will strengthen the SLFP throughout the Kurunegala district. But I will not forget the Bingiria electorate. I hope to commit myself fully to strengthen the SLFP in the Kurunegala district and to ensure the party is victorious in the entire district.
Trade unions allege that a 9 billion rupee project undertaken by the Inland Revenue Department is facing problems with execution. They charge that the Treasury is yet to provide sufficient computers to enable the implementation of this project.
Several years ago, the Inland Revenue Department decided to revolutionize tax culture in Sri Lanka through a project that would manage revenue and information through a computerized system. The Revenue Administration Management Information System, also known as RAMIS, was introduced to Sri Lanka by the government of Singapore. Inland Revenue personnel was sent to Singapore in batches for the special training required for the smooth implementation of the system. Trade unions said that it was planned to use a system which cost 9 billion rupees from this year. However, the Treasury is yet to give the officials the computers that are required.
The Treasury was informed in 2016 that there was a requirement to purchase 500 computers and another 500 computers for 2017. However, we are yet to be provided with the 1,000 computers. In this backdrop, the personnel at the Inland Revenue Department have found it impossible to execute their duties using the computerized system. These facilities are required. If not, we cannot reach our expected revenue goals. That is why it is of paramount importance that they provide these computers to the department immediately, failing which the process will come to a standstill.
Today, State Minister of Finance Lakshman Yapabewardena responded to allegations from trade unions at the Inland Revenue Department to the effect that it has become impossible to implement tax amendments as a necessary legislation has not been adopted in Parliament.
The procedure that was followed was that a newspaper advertisement would be published informing when the tax amendment would come into effect. Court has ruled that until the Gazette and the newspaper advertisement is published, these cannot be enforced and can only be done after the act is passed. However, it does not mean that tax cannot be collected under the previous procedure. That is still in effect. Taxes will be collected in accordance with that act. After the new act comes into force, taxes will be collected according to that. There is nothing special whatsoever. There are advantages and disadvantages. For example, the tax for the hospitality sector was increased from 12% to 28%. Some areas have seen concessions. There will be no issue in tax collection.
The State Minister of Finance also responded to allegations regarding amendments to the Inland Revenue Act.
We have held discussions with the most experienced commissioners at the Department of Inland Revenue. My personal view is that we must amend the existing Inland Revenue Act as it is outdated. However, the amendments must not harm certain persons as well as the department. That is the stance of the President. The President made it clear that when there are amendments, the respective trade unions must also be consulted. We have an aim to increase revenue to 20% of GDP. If not, we cannot take the country forward.
On Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali this morning, good governance activist and former chairman of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, Chandra Jayaratne, said the government has become too dependent on foreign advisors.
There appears to be growing talk and concern about this proposed income tax, the new rules or the amendments or whatever you want to call it. That some of those aspects are rather draconian.
Well, this government's manifesto talked about white papers, green papers. We haven't seen white papers or green papers or any other papers till they are signed. If a government for 2 years running are unable to get the acts and bills in place in time, that's total dysfunctionality. I think they are dependent too much on some of the foreign advisors. They believe in foreign advisors. We haven't seen the tax commission report as yet. We have produced tax bills before. Why can't we do this? Now I recollect that after the budget was passed, I think the legal draftsman's department was told to concentrate fully on getting the tax bills in time. But in between comes a foreign person is brought. I think the foreign persons are being brought so that the ego of some of them are massaged. Some of the ideas can be put to them and they can rest without doing the things. They can be without having capable people around them, use their cronies around them and be happy. Somebody produces, they stamp it and put it out without any. I'd like to ask whether how many of these who are in governance have run anything in their lifetime other than being in parliament? Have they run a business? Have they run an institution?
So they don't really have an ear to the ground.
Certainly they don't have an ear to the ground, and they also lack total capability. So they select people who are very close to them, who think like them, who will do the things they want and who will massage their ego.
A media briefing convened by the All Ceylon Peasants Federation and the Kaudulla Joint Agrarian Projects Foundation was held in Abepuragama, Madirugiriya today.
The media briefing was held adjacent to the Abepuragama paddy fields with the participation of farmers from the area. While they are allocating 70 million for a single minister, while they are allocating 600 million for the Prime Minister, the farmer who feeds the country has been forced to pawn his bicycle. We were unable to cultivate last season and we haven't received money for fertilizer this season. Please distribute fertilizer to the farmers of Kaudulla and to farmers across the country. Please give the farmers the promised compensation of 2,500 rupees. Do not lie to us. Today is the 11th. After the new year, we will march on the ministry. Do not push us to this last resort.
The Agricultural and Agrarian Insurance Board says that compensation for damaged crops across 8 districts has been deposited in the farmers' bank accounts. The Director General of the board, Panduka Veerasinghe, said 1.208 billion rupees had been credited to the accounts of farmers in 12 districts. He assured that compensation will also be provided to farmers of supplementary crops in the coming days.
Police are on the lookout for a van used by a businessman from Ipalogama, Kakirawa, who has been missing since Sunday morning.
The missing man, Ajanta Pushpakumara, had left his home on Sunday morning accompanied by a group of men who had visited his house. The men had removed footage recorded on the home's CCTV camera system. However, the SUV used by the men was last seen at a shop near the house and was recorded on CCTV cameras there. Police say the family of the missing man had identified the vehicle. Officers of the Crimes Division and the OIC of the Ipalogama police station visited the home of the missing man this morning to record statements from family members. Investigations into this person have revealed that he was involved in selling false gold coins, which he claimed to be ancient artifacts from treasures, selling false gemstones, 2 robberies and 2 incidents of assault. The police have uncovered the number on the license plate of the vehicle in which this man was taken. The vehicle has been registered under the name of a public official in Norelia. He claims that he did not take the vehicle to this area on this day. It is possible that they are using falsified license plates. A witness has also provided a statement to the police claiming that he saw the missing man consuming liquor with a group of men on the bank of a reservoir about 4 kilometers from his home. We cannot say for certain whether this individual was abducted by the group of men or whether he accompanied them willingly. This is because further examination of his character showed that he is not a person without fault or without a black mark. Up next is Action TV.
A Newsfirst correspondent who visited Valikahagolla in Uhana, Ampara today to report on the improper construction of a bridge in the area received an unpleasant welcome.
උඩු කරන කැමර එක ඔබ දැනගනින් ඒක ඔබට කියපන් ඕනේ එහෙම ගිහිල්ලා උඩු කරන කැමර එක යන් ගේ ගුණ මේක ආච්චලා එක්කගෙන කිව්වා අර ගෑන් ටික උඹට තෙලින්ද මේ මං කවුද කියන්නේ වැඩිද මේ ගන්නන්න එපා ඔයා උගන්නන්න දෙන්න එපා මෙයාටම මේ වැදගත් අපිත් වැදගත් බීදු තමයි යන් ගේ ගුණ මේක ආච්චලා එක්කගෙන කිව්වා අර ගෑන් ටික උඹට තෙලින්ද.
The correspondent filed a complaint with the Uhana police, who acted immediately to arrest 2 of the men who had threatened the journalist. The story the journalist was covering was the construction of a bridge across the Galoya left bank waterway connecting the Valikahagolla settlement with the main road. On the 3rd of March, Action TV exposed the fact that the design of the bridge was incompatible with its environs. This is because the bridge has been built 5 feet higher than the road, which is supposed to connect to the settlement. The project was commenced under the 1000 Rural Bridges project undertaken by the Ministry of Economic Development of the previous government. The project was placed under the purview of the Ministry of Provincial Councils and Local Government following the election of the Good Governance government. Today, our camera captured the fact that instead of rectifying the problem with the height of the bridge, steps had been taken to apply a band-aid solution. The primary reason for this problem is that the recommendation of the Irrigation Department to build this bridge elsewhere was ignored and it was relocated here for political needs. Today, a foreman at the site obstructed the duties of our cameraman in a very unruly manner. However, it was this very foreman who revealed to us of the political interference taking place. The bridge has not been constructed at the location that was recommended by the Irrigation Department. Therefore, is it not in fact putting lives at risk by applying band-aid solutions to the bridge? Minister of Provincial Councils and Local Government, this is over to you.
A petition was filed with the Supreme Court today seeking a determination on whether the foreign exchange bill or parts of the bill violate the Constitution.
The petition was filed by Attorney-at-Law Darshana Veranduwage, with the Attorney General being named as the respondent. The petition highlights 5 clauses of the foreign exchange bill which could possibly be inconsistent with the Constitution.
Under the Excise Control Act කියනක වෙනුවට foreign exchange bill කියලා.
The government is trying to replace the current Exchange Control Act with a bill called the Foreign Exchange Bill. There are several dangerous clauses in this bill. The Central Bank and the Monetary Board has a very important role in maintaining financial stability in the country. However, with this bill, they will not be able to do anything without first obtaining the approval of the Minister of Finance. There will be a concentration of power in the hands of the Finance Minister, which will lead to unexpected and unforeseeable consequences.
Speaking to News First, Attorney-at-Law Nagananda Kodituaku commented on the proposed foreign exchange bill.
Now, what made them to bring it during the court vacation in the first place? And why now? They waited. I think it was gazetted on our table in the order paper of the Parliament last Thursday or Friday. Now, Saturday was a holiday. Sunday was a holiday, Monday was a holiday, and any citizen get a period of only 7 days from the date it is placed in the order paper. Now 4 days is already gone. Any person with common sense will understand there is a kind of ulterior motive behind this. and that is to prevent people from challenging it in some way in the Supreme Court. Now, one counsel is a friend of mine who has challenged. There will be another petition which will be filed by me tomorrow morning, and because now the attempt is to get the entire right now it is in the monetary board, control of finance. Now the finance minister Ravi Karunanayake attempts to control the subject of finance, bring it under his control, the minister's control, which is exactly, this is a representative democracy. Therefore, there has to be an independent body to control the finance of this country. No individual, now you know this particular individual is already charged for corruption and he is accused in foreign exchange fraud. He was charged for money laundering case. Now he is not exonerated. Can such a person, what country, appoint such an individual to be in charge, the Minister of Finance? Simple question to my country and the people.
Alarming allegations there from attorney at law Nagananda Kodituaku commenting on the proposed foreign exchange bill.
G7 nations have rejected a call by Britain for sanctions against Russia in the wake of a deadly chemical attack they say was carried out by Moscow's ally Syria.
Italy's foreign minister said the group did not want to back Russia into a corner and preferred dialogue. US Secretary of State Rex Tillerson is now heading for the G7 meeting in Italy for talks in Moscow. He insisted Syria's president could not play a part in the country's future. The fact that Rex Tillerson's visit to Moscow is happening at all is telling. Russia reacted angrily to last week's US missile strikes on Syria, condemning it as an act of aggression. Yet Moscow is happy to host the US Secretary of State. But experience shows that Moscow does not take well to threats or ultimatums. If Tillerson thinks he can weaken Moscow's support for President Assad, he may need to rethink.
Pakistan's top court is on the verge of handing down a historic decision relating to the Panama Papers scandal and its incumbent Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif.
Chairman of Pakistan's PTI party Imran Khan says the Supreme Court's verdict will change the future of Pakistan. However, Nawaz Sharif's party dismissed the reports that he may flee Pakistan ahead of the Supreme Court's verdict as rubbish. According to media reports, the much-awaited verdict in the case is expected by mid-April. The Panama Papers scandal made global headlines in early 2016 when nearly 11.5 million documents detailing financial and attorney-client information for offshore accounts belonging to the Panamanian law firm Mossack Fonseca were leaked by an anonymous source. The files show how Mossack Fonseca clients were able to launder money, dodge sanctions and avoid tax. The International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, also known as the ICIJ, which exposed the documents, say that there are links to 12 current or former heads of state and government in the data. The ICIJ documents also carry information of Sri Lankans and Sri Lankan corporates. Among the Sri Lankan names disclosed in the document is Nisanka Yapa Senadipati, who is the chairman of Avantgarde Private Limited, which came under the spotlight of controversy in the recent past, as well as YHP Kitsiri Manjala Kumara Yapa, Senrat Bandara Disanayaka and Prasanna Sirimevan Rajaratna, who are directors of the company.
And that's the wrap-up of Primetime News. Thank you for joining us. For the news with Teema Mazrasan.
And I'm Nadim Majid. Before we leave you, something you'll find on our Newsfirst.lk website. Zainab Saumi of Kandy Girls High School has taken Sri Lanka to the top of the world by emerging victorious in the Under-20 Women's Competition at the FIDE World Amateur Chess Championship in Spoleto, Italy. And on that note, I leave you with some thoughts. Intelligence plus character. Whether it's free or not, that is the purpose of true education. Good night and good luck.